back, and I'm very pleased to say we're continuing a conversation with Michael Yon, a really courageous and formidable war correspondent, a man who knows whereof he speaks because he goes into harm's way to find out what the facts are and report it to the rest of us. And we're so appreciative of his visits with us from time to time. Michael, we were talking about what you've been witnessing and warning about for some time, the growing invasion of our country and what might contribute to it becoming even worse in the next few, well, weeks and months, I suppose. One piece of what's happening is that this surge of people, all of whom, as Todd Bensman told us, have to pay very substantial amounts of money to cartels to transit that last stretch of Mexico into the United States, have enormously enriched these cartels with their human smuggling, their drug smuggling, and heavens knows what else, perhaps weapons of mass destruction and terrorist smuggling as well. Today, the government of Mexico, seemingly somewhat reluctantly, because I'm not sure that Manuel Lopez Obrador particularly wants to confront the cartels, but the Mexican army nonetheless is finding itself in unbelievably intense firefights, including on our border, Nuevo Laredo, most recently, I think, with these heavily armed cartels. What's the security situation like there as you see it, and where's this likely to go?
It's intense, obviously, and the cartels are immensely powerful, and they're not consigned just to Mexico. They're buying farms in Oregon, for instance. I flew out to Oregon last year to visit with a marijuana farmer, a legal marijuana farmer, who told me that the cartels are buying property around him. And they are. They're buying cartels from Mexico. Why would they bring it in tunnels when they can just grow it in Oregon, right? And so, insofar as marijuana goes, right? This doesn't. I don't know about the fentanyl and those other things, but they're physically now growing marijuana in Oregon, the actual cartels. So, these sorts of things are just we are like Siamese twins, and it's becoming worse and deeper. And the fecklessness, it's not even weakness of the Biden administration. They're clearly part of the problem. I called up Jack Maxey last night, whom you know. He's got the laptop. I saw other things last night. This is clear that the Biden administration is amazingly corrupt beyond their traitors. I'm going to use the word. It's incredibly clear. How much evidence do we need to see? Hunter Biden took $1.5 billion with a B dollars from China. He's a bag man for his father. So, these sorts of things, the cartels are already well within the U.S. borders, and it's just growing. Meanwhile, the border is being like. Go ahead, Frank.
I want to come back. We're going to talk, I hope, with Jack Maxey in the next couple of days about his findings on Hunter Biden's laptop. But, Michael, just staying with the cartel security problem, at some point, do you think it's likely, and I also want to talk more about this trader business, but do you think it's likely that the United States military will have to be, once again, like going after Pancho Villa, sent into Mexico to clear out this cartel warfare and increasing capabilities to attack not just the government of Mexico and its forces, but our own personnel on our side of the border as well?
Well, it's amazingly possible again, but again, the cartels these are sophisticated organizations, not the street level thugs, but the higher levels. Their kids go to Yale. They're all over the United States. So it's not like we can just go take them out of Mexico. They're buying foreign farms in Oregon. They live down on the border in Texas. They are big property owners in the United States. So it's not as if they're over there in some distant land. It's not that at all. And so we're faced with a very serious problem of our own design, or at least the designs of the people that are clearly trying to rip apart the United States.
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to that divide to conquer strategy, doesn't it? I've called it a wrecking operation, what the Biden
It is.
Harris administration is doing really across the board, both domestically and internationally. Michael, just a thought. One of the principal beneficiaries of the wrecking operation, I've concluded, is the Chinese Communist Party. And you've pointed out that, an immense amount of money has migrated from the Chinese as part of their elite capture operation, as Peter Schweizer's pointed out, has gone into the Biden family, including to Joe Biden himself. Traitor is a strong word. I think it's apt in this case. If what has been happening is Joe Biden is doing this wrecking at the direction of the Chinese Communist Party, would you say that's a distinct possibility, if not a provable fact at this point?
Yeah, traitor is a very severe word. It's also appropriate in this instance. I mean, words like traitor, these are words that I don't use lightly. And it's very clear that Joe Biden runs the Biden crime family. It's just, how obvious does it have to be? I mean, it's there. I've seen much of the laptop. We've seen his actions. We've seen Joe Biden's actions. He is there, the big T traitor, and it's destroying the United States. He's not the only one, of course. I don't know who all the players are, but clearly this is not all down to just ineptitude. This is not all just theft. This is an actual plan that people have talked about for generations to destroy the United States. The Russians have talked about it for generations. The Chinese have talked. Americans have talked about it for generations, and it's coming to pass. And the only people standing between that end is us, the American patriots.
Right.
We're the only ones that can stop it. Nobody. There's no 911 to call. We're it.
That's exactly right. Speaking of American patriots, you embedded recently with a whole bunch of them in semi-truck trailer operations, convoys across this country. Talk quickly about that experience, if you would, Michael. We've only got about 2 minutes left, but I do want our audience to get a sense of who those folks were and what has been accomplished by their efforts to date, and what's the next step as you see it.
Yeah, I flew out to California. It was at a place called Adelanto near Barstow, and drove all the way across the United States with them to Washington, D.C. They're still there in Hagerstown, Maryland at the Speedway. You can go see them. Long drive. An amazing number of Americans came out waving flags. We must have gone under 1,000 bridges with people. Sometimes it was just one guy waving a flag like a crazy man on the island. Those were some of the best. Other times it was like 500 people or 1,000 people on the bridge, thousands and thousands of people on the side of the road, mile after mile, fire trucks with flags and police shining their lights in support, waving at us. I mean, there was a huge number of people. I had to get an airplane at one point to get above just to try to see how big it was.
What's the next step, Michael, as you understand it?
With the truckers, they're still there. They're still protesting. There's a live stream. You can look up People's Convoy live on, say, YouTube, if you dare to go there, and you'll see live streams from the Speedway, and also as they drive, still going around Washington. I mean, they have accomplished a lot. They wanted to. There's a lot of Canadian flags flying, by the way, and I asked many people why Canadian flags, and they were actually Americans. They're just saying to show thanks to the Canadians for the idea, right?
Yeah. Michael, we have to leave it at that for the moment. Thank you for this report, and come back to us with updates. So wherever you are, there's trouble, that's for sure, and we need your insights into what's going on and what we need to be doing about it. God bless you, my friend. It's good to talk with you. Next up, we'll speak with a foreign-born American patriot by the name of Dr. Shayo Ajiboye about his experiences here in America and in Nigeria. That and more straight ahead.